The season has become a maze for Birmingham City, and right now, there's no obvious way out. What once looked like a genuine push for the playoffs has slowly unraveled into something far less comfortable, a fight just to hold things together in the final stretch. January and February brought belief, an unbeaten run that lifted St Andrews and gave supporters real hope. But reality has hit hard. 1 win in 6, 10 points behind Southampton, and only 7 games left. Now, instead of chasing promotion, Chris Davies is managing expectations, trying to steady a side that feels like it's losing its grip at the worst possible time. And with Blackburn, Rovers and Ipswich Town coming up in a demanding Easter doubleheader, the pressure is no longer hypothetical. It's immediate, it's intense, and it's focused squarely on a 1-year-old manager who still has the backing of Knighthead but knows that support only lasts so long when results fade. The issue goes beyond form, it's structural. The left-hand side of Birmingham's defence has become a clear example of what's gone wrong. No natural left-back available, no balance, no continuity. A position that should offer stability has turned into a weekly problem-solving exercise. The January arrival from Philadelphia, who initially looked like the answer, is now unavailable. The regular starter hasn't featured since New Year's Day. As a result, Davies and his staff are constantly patching things together, asking players to adapt and reshaping the system game by game. At this stage of the season, that's a risk. Defensive instability doesn't just cost clean sheets, it erodes confidence. And once confidence goes, control follows. This is where squad planning is exposed. The investment has been there, but depth in key areas is now being tested by injuries, and right now it isn't holding up. At the centre of this situation are Kai Wagner and Alex Cochrane, and the reality is tougher than many expected. Speaking to Football League World, Davies confirmed that Wagner is still weeks away, with his shoulder fracture requiring more time to fully heal, especially before he can return to full contact. Cochrane, meanwhile, is making progress back in boots and working technically, but remains some way off match fitness, with further checks and conditioning still needed. Alongside that, Davies has made it clear that communication with Knighthead remains constant, even with Tom Wagner continuing his recovery after the health issue he suffered in February. The focus behind the scenes is already shifting towards the summer, reviewing the squad, deciding who stays, who moves on, and what needs to change to avoid another inconsistent campaign. But for now, Davies knows the priority is navigating this fragile period without letting it spiral. And then there's the idea that refuses to fade, even amid all this uncertainty. Jude Bellingham, the name alone, changes the mood. Clinton Morrison has brought it back into the conversation, openly discussing the possibility, however distant, of Birmingham's greatest modern academy product returning one day. Bellingham has already played a symbolic role in the club's future, fronting the vision for a new 62,000-seat stadium, a statement of intent from ownership and from Stephen Knight. But Morrison's view is grounded. Bellingham is at Real Madrid, at the very top of world football, and likely to remain there for years. Any return isn't about now, it's about later. Late 20s, maybe early 30s. A full circle moment, not a rescue act, and yet for supporters dealing with the present reality, even that distant possibility matters. It represents hope, identity, a reminder of what Birmingham could become, even if right now feels a long way from that level. So here's the question hanging over this Easter period: how do Birmingham cope without natural left-backs when the margin for error has already disappeared? And beyond that, do you trust Chris Davies and Knighthead's summer plan to build something strong enough that one day talking about Jude Bellingham's return feels realistic rather than romantic?